Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, a space for multi-creative people. Today we're diving into a topic that many of you have questions about. So I recently uploaded a video revealing how much I made as an influencer doing this part-time in addition to when I had a full-time job, which you can see here if you want to go check that out. But there were a lot of questions about how to land brand deals, especially for creators and influencers who are just starting out. I'm going to share what I know and what worked for me. Keep in mind that it is of course going to be different for everyone depending on everything, who you are, the type of content you want to create, your personality, where you live. There's so many factors that go into being a creator, but I'm happy to share what worked for me. Make sure to stay all the way till the end because you truly cannot skip through this process. I really believe that it's going to be value from the beginning to the end. So for your own best interest, watch till the very end for all the little details. So let's jump into the strategies. First, I really want to talk about the thing that I don't think people talk about enough, and that is knowing what kind of brand you want for yourself. Starting out, you're not going to really know much, but you can definitely have an idea, because basically how I see it is you have to know what feels most authentic and natural to you, because that's gonna convey in your content. It may not come as natural for some people. Like me personally, I have always been a multi-passionate being, so it was so hard for me to stick to one thing. Done all these things all my life in the creative field that I really didn't know where to start when it came to content. So I just kind of started doing everything and seeing what felt right for me and what sticks, what people loved to see from me, testing phase, and figure that part out. For the sake of this video, we won't get into niche. Step one is definitely find what feels most authentic to you and what you want to stand for and what kind of message you want to put out in your content. Okay, next up, I'm sure you've heard a million times, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but consistency is key. I know that you're gonna hear that a lot from people, but I also want to talk about quality, because yes, consistency is great, but if you're not like looking at your content every time you upload something and kind of studying it a little bit and thinking like, okay, did this work? Did this not work? How's my lighting here? When I actually pay attention to things like, you know, updating my lighting, updating my audio, whatever it is, as long as I'm constantly trying to improve the quality of my content, I will say that I've noticed a difference. And you have to remember now, content creation is becoming more saturated. So a lot more people are creating content and really anyone can do it. So you do have to find a way to stand out. What can capture attention more is quality, especially if you're looking to work with brands. You have to consider that these brands are looking for people to represent their brands and their products too. So you want to come off professional. You want to have high quality content, and something that engages with your audience too is quality. Nowadays, because anyone can do content, it's more noticeable. Like I personally stop when I see high quality content, like the camera they're using, the lighting, the equipment that they have, it just pulls you in a little bit more. So that's something to keep in mind. And, you know, of course, to that, I will say, don't feel like you need all the most expensive equipment to get started, because I've fallen in that trap before, and you have to start with what you have and you just keep going and growing. The only way to really get better is to keep going and growing along the way. Understanding your audience is very important. So for me, when I first started out, I was giving lots of like beginner tips and like things like, you know, oh, brown eyes really match well with this type of eyeshadow, with this type of lipstick, like tips. I knew that I really wanted to serve a community of new makeup artists, or maybe like people who were just getting into makeup or wanted to know like little tips that they can apply in their everyday life. Because I thought about what are the questions that I would get when I was a makeup artist working in retail, or when I had my own freelance business. Like, what are the questions that a lot of people asked me? Then I compiled a list of that and I made content specifically with that in mind. You do have to understand what kind of service you're going to be providing through your content. Okay, to that, I want to talk about networking. As someone who's moved a lot and I've lived in another country, and I will say it is harder when you go to a city or a place that you didn't grow up in and you start from scratch, which I have. I moved to LA 5 years ago now, and I will tell you first-handedly, it is very hard to build relationships and connections straight out of the jump. So what I did was I actually engaged with a lot of people online. Like I would literally look up other creators in LA and I would search for specific type of creators that I personally wanted to meet or get to know, or like, you know, surround yourself. I don't know necessarily how that helps in terms of landing brand deals, but I'm just pointing it out there because it did help encourage me as a creator to just put myself out there and feel more involved in the community that I was wanting to be a part of. Community is everything. No matter what you're doing, community is always going to be important. Like, just how can I serve in this community? The next step is to also get more involved, engage with your audience. If you get one comment, if you get one question, like, please don't ignore people in your comments. I mean, it's one thing if you don't see them or if you get to a point where you don't see them. Sometimes that happens to me now where I just don't see them if I'm not on the app all day. And starting out, you should be able to comment back like right away, which does help. This all contributes to, you know, working with brands, because at the end of the day, brands want to know that the person they're working with has an audience that has a connection with you. Let's talk media kit. So, okay, this is gonna be really interesting to say, but I did make a media kit in the very beginning, like when I first started doing content, which I don't even use anymore. I just updated it because every new year I update it just in case, but I really don't use my media kit. When I reach out, I usually just send a more personalized email. Make a list of brands that you already like, that you already use, maybe products that you already have. I'm gonna speak from my experience because as a makeup artist, I want to work with beauty brands specifically. So I would look at the stuff that I had, the products that I already use and love in my kit. I would shoot my shot. I would contact these brands through social media and ask for their PR email. In the beginning, you do have to do some free content. Me personally, that's what I believe. Because if you don't have anything to show, you just don't have anything to show. So I personally knew the strategy of like, okay, if I do some stuff for free, I can use that as content to share with other brands to show that I've worked with another brand. So you do kind of have to keep that in mind starting out. So what I did, I would literally message brands and say, I'm willing to do like a gifted collab basically. Like if you send me products or put me on your PR list, I'd be happy to make a video in exchange for you because I love your brand or whatever reason why. I would message them. I wouldn't hear back from a lot of brands and sometimes I would get a yes. And that was the most exciting part. I think out of like hundreds of brands in the beginning, like I probably got a response from like a handful of them. So it wasn't a lot, but you do in the beginning have to put yourself out there. You never know until you email brands. I feel like nowadays it's even easier because I see so many videos of people sharing brand emails, like PR emails. Like I didn't have any of those resources when TikTok first started popping off. There was no one sharing brand PR emails. So I would literally have to we would have to find them ourselves. So now I think there's no reason to not know a brand's email or get a brand's email. But I will say, I guess maybe now that more people are becoming content creators, you should have a media kit that represents you properly so that you can kind of stand out, because I'm sure brands are more flooded with emails now. Outreach in the beginning is definitely very important. You want to speak, you don't want to copy and paste messages. Please don't do that, because I mean, I personally never did that, but I just know the feeling when I would receive emails that I could tell brands were like copying and pasting to all creators. It just doesn't feel good. So I would say to stand out, make it personal for every brand that you reach out to. Try to be specific about ideas that you have already or products that you already love. Just give them something to work with, you know? Don't copy other people's content, please. Try to be original. I personally feel that that's the best strategy. It comes down to the more consistent you are and the more professional your content looks, the more likely brands will start reaching out to you. You have more leverage when brands come to you. Working with brands does take time though, so you do have to be patient. I would just focus mostly on the journey and the process of becoming a great creator. Like, even now that I am reflecting on this new year, I've really realized that you have to focus on your craft, on your work, on your creation. Like, don't get too caught up with like monetizing in the beginning, especially, but even throughout your journey. Like, I've realized that if you just focus on creating great work and helping people somehow through your great work, that things will just come to you. Like things will just start flowing. And there's gonna be times where they're not even hitting up your inbox, and there's times where it's flooded. So, you know, just know that it takes time, it takes patience, it takes consistency. I think the biggest important thing is to stand out somehow and make your content most authentic to you, meaning like not copying people's content, not just doing trends, like actually finding your own unique voice and perspective on a certain topic and offering something valuable that people don't get anywhere else. Make content with the brands that you love, the products you love, and brands you want to work with. Do it over and over until you get their attention. That's literally what I would do. I would keep tagging them. I would just keep talking about their products whenever I could. And then maybe you might get a viral video that kind of pops off. What I would do when I had viral videos like kind of back to back, I would then pitch myself even stronger. I would use that leverage of like, this video is getting lots of traction. I would love to create more content with you like this down the line. And that's actually worked for me. Okay, there's been a couple of brands that I truly believe I manifested through being strategic. I would constantly post about it, and when I had a video go even just remotely viral, I would copy the link of that video, get their email, send it to them and say, look, this is a video that I created for you. And though I might not hear back right away, coincidentally, like months later, sometimes I would hear back from these brands and they'd want to work with me. If you have a video to show, you're most likely gonna stand out way more than just never having a video, and like you just might come off that you want free products. And even though, of course, free products is nice, but if you don't have any kind of like work to show that you've invested in their brand or their company already, then it might just look like another email. A perfect example of leveraging a moment of virality of some sort. So when Amazon first launched their Amazon Style Store, I went in there just as a customer, and I was so excited about the shopping experience that I made a video, I made a TikTok about it, which you could see here, and it kind of went viral. It kind of did. And it went viral enough for Amazon Fashion to actually repost it on their Instagram Reels. At first, I was a little bit confused why they didn't ask me to repost, because now I know brands always ask to repost. They did give me tagged credit though. I messaged them immediately and I just said, thank you for sharing my video. Like, I'm so happy that you loved it enough to repost it. Can I have your email? They gave me an email. I was already a part of the Amazon affiliate program. So there's like a ton of contacts that you could probably find for Amazon, right? So they gave me the Amazon affiliate, I think, contact info, and I emailed them, linked the video again, and I would say like, you know, I would love to work with you in the future. Forwarded me like 3 different people, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is gonna work, but they kept forwarding me to different departments, and I was basically repitching myself. Guess what? I worked with Amazon Fashion. Needless to say, like, I wasn't even a fashion creator, okay? I am a beauty content creator. At the time, I was solely on beauty. Now I'm dabbling more into like fashion and other different categories of things that I like. To me, that was a big deal because I was like, I brought this in myself. I reached out, I kept reaching out. I was persistent with it, okay? Sometimes you have to be persistent. Obviously, don't be annoying and don't bug, because I don't think I was annoying. They just forwarded me to someone else in the department because I think they were just trying to get me to the right contact, which is different. I wasn't like bugging them multiple times following up or anything. It worked, you know. They ended up coming back to me like I think a couple months later for one of the Prime campaigns, which you can see some of the photos I did for them here. But they even featured my TikTok on the front of their store, which I can also show you a picture of. It was one of the coolest experiences. This gave me so much inspiration as a new creator, and I was like, whoa, that's cool. Like, it was a blend of timing, strategy, and just manifestation. I think the point here is just be strategic whenever you feel like there is an opportunity, or if a brand reposts you of some sort. Think of it as building relationships, because at the end of the day, people who work for brands are people, are human. Every time I get any kind of opportunity with a brand, whether it's gifted, whether it's being on their PR list, whether it's going to an event, whether it's working with them on a paid collab, you do have to be professional and Show brands that and the people that you are willing to put in the work to be someone easy to work with. It's a business at the end of the day. And when you do get PR packages, girl, you better get to work. Whenever you get PR packages, or even if you buy product in the store and you want to make content with it, you better go all out. Like, you need to make content with it. Do what you gotta do. I would do like videos, YouTube reviews, TikTok reviews, Instagram reviews multiple times. I would talk about it in live, like literally just make the most content with whatever you have to start gaining some traction. And then it's like this really beautiful process of momentum. Once you start building and consistently working towards this goal, and you keep creating content and you keep fine-tuning your quality, then it slowly starts increasing this momentum, and then boom, suddenly brands are hitting you up in your inbox. The more you put in, the more you get in return. At the end of the day, it's not just about the media kit. It's not just about your followers. It's about how passionate are you and how much are you willing to put into your own work. You're servicing people, like remove your ego from the situation, forget about numbers, forget about metrics, forget about how much money you're making, honestly, and just like really dive into the passion part of it and think, how can I help more people with the knowledge and skills that I have? I'm still learning and growing, so these are just the tips that I have currently. I hope that this was somewhat helpful for you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe if you want to continue your glow up journey with me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.